who was arrested and terminated from his position after several kilograms of suspected cocaine were seized. And I have a look at what happened in court today.
In government offices, parcels come and go like breaths. Steady, quiet, unnoticed. A few folders, some pieces of equipment, sometimes just a box of printer ink. No one ever imagines that among them, something dangerous could be concealed. Yet, on a cold morning in late October in Springfield, Massachusetts, a small, ordinary parcel, no different from hundreds of thousands of others, would open a fracture within the very heart of power. No gunfire, no alarm, merely the sound of a paper knife slicing through cardboard. And from that moment onwards, everything changed. And the name on that delivery slip did not belong to a criminal nor a street corner dealer, but to a government official once hailed as a model of public service. October 28, 2025. A federal task force comprising DEA and FBI agents entered the Massachusetts State Office at 436 Dwight Street, Springfield. The raid unfolded in silence. No sirens, no shouting, only the sound of leather shoes and the flicker of torches across concrete corridors. They moved directly towards the Western Massachusetts Regional Office of the Governor. On the deputy director's desk sat a newly delivered parcel. At first glance, it appeared perfectly ordinary. The postage label bore a valid government tracking code, the official Massachusetts state seal, every detail printed with precision. No one in the office suspected a thing. It was signed for, placed neatly on the desk, amongst stacks of paperwork, memoranda, and official stamps. A morning as tranquil as any other. But when the agents opened the box, what lay inside was not paperwork, not correspondence. It was 8 kilograms of pure cocaine, tightly compressed into silver bricks, wrapped in multiple layers of thick plastic and carefully heat-sealed, and as if someone had taken extraordinary care to ensure its safe, undetected delivery. In that instant, the room fell silent. No one uttered a word. They all knew what had just been found was not merely narcotics, it was evidence of betrayal. The man arrested was LaMar Cook, aged 45, a resident of Springfield. He served as deputy director of the governor's Western Massachusetts office, based within the Springfield State Office building at 436 Dwight Street, effectively the Governor Maura Healey's representative office for the Western counties. He was no low-level staffer. Cook acted as the bridge between the state government and the 4 Western counties, earning an annual salary of roughly $115,000 and had been appointed in 2023. Before his government post, Cook had been director of Hotel UMass in Amherst, catering to university guests and visiting officials. His record had appeared spotless, a man once praised as exemplary, loyal, and respected within the black community. Immediately following his arrest, the governor's office announced his dismissal, calling the act utterly unacceptable and a profound violation of public trust. And that was perhaps the most unsettling part. For this case did not emerge from the backstreets or shadowy docks of illicit trade. It was born right in the center of light, a place meant to embody integrity and faith. It was not criminals from outside who had infiltrated the system. The truth was far darker. The system had allowed the darkness to grow from within. And when that happens, one realizes that sometimes the greatest threat does not come from the streets, but from those who know how to smile in the light. This case did not begin inside the state office. It began 2 weeks earlier at Hotel UMass in Amherst, the very place where Cook once served as director. When the digital forensics team unlocked Cook's laptop, they knew they were not merely searching for routine files. Inside the hard drive lay a string of encrypted shipping records, traces that led to 19 separate drug consignments over a period of 14 months. Each shipment contained between 8 and 20 kilograms of narcotics, counterfeit pills, fentanyl sticks, and crystal methamphetamine, all transported through the United States Postal Service, so lawfully packaged that no one ever took notice. But what they discovered next was even more disturbing. Embedded within the machinery of government itself, from patrol officers and deputy sheriffs to court clerks, a covert network had formed, secretly moving contraband through the State House mailroom and hiding it within municipal storage depots where no one would think to look. The origin was traced back to the armed crime syndicate La Eva Sangre, operating across the northeastern United States, from New York to Maine. Their so-called stash points were located in ordinary neighborhoods, disguised behind car repair shops, corner stores, and warehouses that appeared entirely legitimate. At 5:28, the sound of armored engines rumbled through Lowell, Worcester, and Springfield. At a car workshop in Lowell, a raid. Meanwhile, in Springfield, agents broke the lock on a warehouse door. Inside, approximately 200 pounds, approximately 91 kilograms of cocaine, and 90 pounds, approximately 41 kilograms of fentanyl, tightly wrapped, labeled, and ready for dispatch. By sunrise, 47 individuals had been arrested. In total, 1.2 tons, approximately 2.4 short tons of narcotics were seized, along with 129 firearms, including smuggled and modified weapons, as well as dozens of mobile phones and coded ledgers. At the Boston Federal Analysis Center, investigators began charting the network. 4 principal distribution routes, each hidden behind the facade of legitimate logistics companies. Refrigerated food warehouses served as cover operations, whilst the illicit cash was laundered through shell corporations and sham charities. When the operation concluded, an integrity review commission was established, and on its very first day, federal vehicles rolled out once again. 17 police officers, 2 city administrators, and 1 state procurement advisor were handcuffed at their workplaces. By then, no one called it a drug enforcement operation any longer. What had just been exposed was nothing short of a purge, a cleansing meant to reveal betrayal from within the system itself. News spread like wildfire. Within mere hours, newspapers from Boston to New York carried the same headline: Aide to Massachusetts governor arrested on cocaine charges. The office of Governor Maura Healey reacted almost immediately. In a press statement released the following morning, the spokesperson declared, "This conduct is unacceptable. Mr. Cook's employment has been terminated with immediate effect." Officials stressed that Cook had passed background checks and had no prior criminal record. But that only deepened public unease, for if a man once vetted and trusted could carry 8 kilograms of cocaine into a government office, then had the oversight system truly worked at all? 3 days after the arrest, LaMar Cook appeared before the Springfield District Court on the 29th of October 2025. Dark blue suit, stiff collar, face expressionless. Behind him, rows of reporters and local residents filled every seat in the courtroom. Prosecutor Carrie Beatty opened, "This is a grave betrayal of public trust. The defendant has not merely broken the law, he has exploited a state institution as cover for criminal activity." Defense counsel Kadar Ismail countered that Cook had mistakenly accepted the wrong parcel and had no knowledge of its contents. But the argument convinced no one. Investigative files showed that Cook had appeared on CCTV footage from Hotel UMass, where 13 kilograms of cocaine had been discovered just 2 weeks earlier. Following the initial hearing, the court convened a special dangerousness hearing to determine whether the defendant could be released on bail. Judge Kevin Maltby presided. Prosecutors outlined their case. The cocaine seized amounted to 8 kilograms, equivalent to tens of thousands of retail doses. The defendant possessed illegal firearms and ammunition. Most significantly, the offense had occurred inside a government building. Beatty concluded, if he could bring narcotics into a state government office, who can guarantee he would not carry them into our schools, hospitals, or homes? After more than an hour of deliberation, the judge delivered his ruling. LaMar Cook is deemed a danger to the community. He shall remain in custody until his formal trial. Immediately after the hearing, the office of Governor Maura Healey issued an additional statement. The state administration will cooperate fully with federal investigators. No one, whether official or civilian, stands above the law. Major outlets, including the Boston Globe, WBUR, and CBS Boston, simultaneously published feature reports. Hundreds of public comments flooded social media. If government officials can do this, who can we trust? Earning over $100,000 a year and still trafficking cocaine, greed truly knows no limit. Some who had once known Cook expressed disbelief. He had led community programs, donated school supplies to underprivileged children, and taken part in Black excellence events. The contrast between the image of a model civil servant and that of an accused drug trafficker left the public shaken. Yet beneath the outrage lay a deeper question. How could someone who had passed all background checks, with no prior record and holding a senior appointment, become involved in a drug network without being detected sooner? The state's internal control mechanisms were designed precisely to prevent such cases, yet this incident exposed a serious breach within the recruitment and oversight system governing public servants. An unnamed cabinet official told WBUR if the DEA hadn't been monitoring this, narcotics could still be moving through our state offices without anyone realizing. That remark forced an uncomfortable reckoning, for the truth was clear: public trust had been eroded. On the political front, the case placed Governor Maura Healey under mounting pressure. Opposition leaders immediately demanded an internal review into the state's vetting and monitoring procedures. Commentators on WCVB Boston spoke bluntly. Healey is now confronting a scandal that has unfolded within her own office. In the wake of the shock bearing the name LaMar Cook, Massachusetts politics was anything but calm. Behind closed doors at the State House in Boston, meetings stretched late into the night. Some legislators spoke out. No longer evasive, no longer cautious. calling for the establishment of an integrity oversight task force. A new body with sweeping authority was proposed, empowered to dig into every file, every contract, and every internal procedure within the state's offices, including that of the governor herself. "No one must stand above the law," declared one legislator before the cameras. "We cannot allow institutions funded by taxpayers to become sanctuaries for crime." Yet, whilst officials debated transparency in Boston, the atmosphere in Springfield, where the case had begun, remained heavy. People no longer spoke of politics, they spoke of trust. For to them, this was not merely a criminal case, it was a fracture between those who pay taxes and those who wield authority. A crack that made no sound, yet was powerful enough to shatter the sense of safety built over years. An elderly man who had once met Cook at a charity event told a local station, "I can't believe it. I shook his hand. I thought he was a good man." When a public servant turns criminal, the consequences extend far beyond the courtroom. They ripple through streets, schools, and homes. And perhaps the most painful part is not the 8 kilograms of cocaine, but the question it forces us to ask: who is truly serving this community? For now, the LaMar Cook case remains under investigation, and perhaps what has been uncovered so far is only the visible tip of an iceberg. No one knows how many names, how many hands, how many official badges are entangled within a network that was meant to uphold the law, not hide behind it. Yet regardless of how long the inquiry lasts, the clearest truth lies not within court indictments, but in the lesson society must learn, a lesson paid for at a heavy price. Trust, invisible though it may be, forms the foundation of every nation. It is not built in a day, but through thousands of days of effort, sacrifice, and honesty. And yet, all it takes is one betrayal, one official's loss of integrity, to fracture that foundation in a single morning. This story is not only about Massachusetts. It is a mirror held up to any system, in any country, where power sometimes stretches too far, and oversight has slept for too long. And if you are watching this now, ask yourself, is there someone where you live using their office to conceal the dark? For corruption does not begin in the streets. It begins in brightly lit rooms where people believe no one is watching. And if you still believe that the truth deserves to be heard, do not leave quietly. Leave a mark, a like, a share, so that the algorithm does not bury what must be seen. Because the fight against corruption does not lie in Washington or Boston. It lies in every choice, every citizen, every moment we refuse to stay silent.